have been summoned. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I am the Light Warrior Raito Sensei here. Thank you guys for tuning in today's video. Today I'm just doing a review on the Dynasty Warriors Origins demo. Just giving you guys my opinion, my thoughts on the game, how I feel about it. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it promising? All that kind of stuff. I'm just gonna tell you certain aspects about the game that I really enjoy. And if you watch, the demo gameplay that I did, I was speechless about it and there was not much I could say. So I couldn't even remember the amount of compliments I had in the game, or certain specific things that I wanted to talk about the game. So I just made a note. I just did a document and just write down a list of a couple of those things, basically like a script. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this. If you're new to the channel, if you like what you see, if you like the content that you see on this channel, I really appreciate it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and give me your feedback. There's any improvement that I need or anything, any criteria, I really appreciate it. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the video now. First things first, so I have the list of the things that I wanted to talk about. It may be some that I probably haven't put on there, but this is what I have to talk about the game so far. And the first thing that I have on here is the gear system, as you can see on the screen. Now basically the gear system is very simple and I really enjoyed that. There has been previous Dynasty Warrior games where the gear system was pretty simple, but if you've been watching the few episodes I had on DWA Empires, the gear system on that looks pretty complicated, if that makes sense. But this is just a few icons of a few categories with squad and equipment and weapons and all that stuff, and that's something that I really appreciate. Now there's nothing much to say about that or anything, but I will, when we get to that point where we cross that bridge, when it comes to the combat, when I get into that, it will correspond with the gear system. Now the next thing I want to move on to is the map and the routing and the lanes. It is so simple and so understanding. It is so appreciative, because one big complaint that I had about the previous Dynasty Warrior games is like the maps were always annoying and they were always confusing and irritating. Like there was always many points in on the map, on the board, where there were so many dead ends and so many cutoffs for no reason whatsoever, and you would have to, just because of that, you'll have to reroute and re-rotate, and you would have to go all the way to the other side of the map just to get to one specific base or one specific battle or anything like that. Whereas in here, there are many ways, and I know you can see the map at the bottom of the screen. Like you can see that there are many ways, many shortcuts, many routes to go towards if you want to get to a certain part on the board. And that's something that is really appreciative. There's a lot of things about this game that you can appreciate, and these are one of those things. I feel like the devs took what the viewers and the gamers and the players had their opinion on in the previous games, and they just took that and just made improvement. That's all. Now the next thing I want to get into is the combat. Boy, I tell you, this has to be the best combat system that we ever had in the Dynasty Warrior games. Like, don't get me wrong, I mean DW9's combat, it was all right. It wasn't the best. Previous games before DW9, there was always the nostalgic hack and slash, whereas in this, it's a mixture of hack and slash, comboing, and strategy at the same time mixed up together. It's not too confusing either, because just like as I said in that demo, I'm getting that Wolong Fallen Dynasty feeling because of the way the combat system is used. Like, and as I said, I wanted to align with the gear system, because in the gear system you can choose different moves and different attacks and abilities that will help you depending on how you want to play in the game. In the combat, there's one thing that I also noticed about the combat system. The thing about it is I think they took the string system from DW9 and took the regular hack and slash combat system from DW8, and then they joined it together to make a new combat system, which is also very fun actually, because I think that's the flaw that they had in DW9, was that there was a flow system. That's what it was called, flow attacks. There were flow attack system in DW9, but there was, you know, it was just all over the place. It was confusing. Whereas in this, you do have the simple hack and slash sort of kind of feel to the moveset and to the combos, while at the same time you still have, you know, the flow attacks at the bottom of the screen right there as you can scroll through and use them, right? With that being said, you know, I think that's what makes it the best combo system and a combat system that we ever had in a DW game. Is it perfect? I don't want to say it's all perfect yet, but so far it is the best we had in a combat. You know, it's the best we had in a Dynasty Warrior game. Now, the next thing I want to move on to is the NPCs. Ooh, man, the NPCs in this game. You know, there are two things about the NPCs. You know, there's your allies and then there's the enemies. The allies are way more helpful. I kid you not, they are beyond more helpful. This is the most helpful NPC ally system that any Dynasty Warrior game has. Where any other Dynasty Warrior game, specifically DW4, they had the better, you know, bodyguard or NPC help system or whatever you want to call it. Any other, you know, Dynasty Warrior game, you know, it just wasn't as good. Okay, they would do a few attacks here and there, whatever, and then you can do a joint, you know, you can do a attack together with them or whatever. Whereas in this one, bro, they do way more attacks, they're way more aggressive, and they're way more active in this game. There are many points in the game, and there's a feature in this game where you can actually do like joint attacks with them depending on your flow attack. I think depending on your flow attack, but overall you can actually do joint attacks with them, whatever, and it helps a lot. Because, you know, these NPCs, when you have this on the max difficulty, the enemy NPCs, the bosses, they are way more aggressive. So it helps a lot when you have that, you know, when you have that option. Speaking of bosses and speaking of enemy NPCs, the enemies in this game, man, they're the best. They are the best. Like so much about this game is a vast improvement from its previous, but the enemies, sub bosses, mini bosses, any of those, they are mad aggressive. They do way more attacks, way more abilities, they do way more things. In this is the most that the NPCs has done in any Dynasty Warrior game. They can even command soldiers to do strategies, stuff like that. They can command soldiers to shoot arrows, to do a charge, anything like that. They can command them to charge at you. And even the mini bosses, the ones where the names up top is like a regular, you know, general or regular captain or whatever, even they're a little bit of a problem. If you're not careful enough, they could be the ones to f you up, like, no joke. Now, speaking of NPCs and allies, enemies, we got to talk about like the fodder in this game. Like, all those little soldiers, you have to call them little soldiers because the most important you know, NPCs, there are, you know, slightly bigger than the smaller soldiers. That's just to let you know who's, you know, the actual characters or the actual, you know, the most important, whatever. With that being said, man, even the NPCs, I mean, not NPCs, but even like the fodder soldiers, you know, even they can sometimes be a problem. You know, yes, they are there for, like, you know, the hack and slash. You can be a one-man army, you can do crowd control, AoE attacks, anything like that, but they can still be a problem. They're almost, I want to say they're half as aggressive as, you know, the bosses. Now, that doesn't say a lot. That at face value, that doesn't say a lot, but in this game it actually does, because these these fodder, you know, they can be a problem if they're controlled, if they're being commanded by one of the bosses and they do some crazy stuff. Like, in numbers, they can be a problem. Like, if they're all coming together and they're fighting you, they can sometimes overwhelm you. Not even sometimes, a lot of times they can overwhelm you, and it actually gives you that feeling that sometimes you can't be a one-man army. Sometimes you can't be the biggest tool in the shed, you know. Also, with that being said, speaking of NPCs and crowd control, again, we gotta talk about, you know, the look of, you know, all those soldiers and all those NPCs on the screen. It is wild as hell. I'm telling you, this is the best. This has to be the best Dynasty Warriors has ever looked in ever. They literally wasn't joking about the 1v1000 or the fact that there's like thousands of NPCs on one screen. I didn't even think a console could even handle all that, but it handles it extremely well. I don't know what kind of engine they're using for this to happen, but I'm not complaining. So keep it up. Like, there's so much to process on this one screen, but at the same time it's not, because it's like it's low-key like easy to see what the hell is going on. Like, as long as you're using that one feature in the game where you can see everything that's going on the board, where it highlights all the enemies and allies, that's one way to see all that. But literally you can see everything that's going on in the background, and it's like when you look at this, when I look at this, in my opinion, when I look at this, I'm like, this is what this is the true definition of a battlefield, bro. This is what a battlefield is supposed to look like, my guy. Now, don't get me wrong, there are other games out there that does this pretty well, that does this just as good, if not better, than Dynasty Warriors Origins. But so far, like, that's my opinion. Like, that's what this should look like. Now, everything else that I have on this list that I want to talk about, I'm gonna make it short, because I don't want this video to be too long, because if I continue to glaze this game, it will take a whole hour. So, like, yeah. But what else do we have on here? We covered enemies, voices, yeah, voice acting in this game. For English dub, I haven't heard Japanese or Chinese dub yet, but for English dub, it is way much better than DW9's. Okay, that's not even that's not a debate. It's definitely better. I know there's been a lot of memes in the community about how Shaho Dune's DW9's voice is, garbage, while in this one it fits the character pretty well. So yeah, there's that. For the designs, do I think is way much better than DW9? In a sense, yes. One part, yes and no. I'm gonna be honest with you, yes and no. Yes, because in this one it looks way more, it looks way more realistic. I'm gonna be rude with you. The character designs, voice design, I mean, yeah, not voice designs, face designs, all that, it looked way more realistic. If I were to be honest with you, it looks like real people. I mean, DW9s, they also look like real people, but in this one, it looks way more real people than the last one. But the designs, like, the attire, how they dress and stuff, I think, to me, I think, DW9 has that beat most. I'm not sure. It's very good. The character designs are very, very good, and I think it's almost the best. I think it's almost the best. I just can't debate to which one is better. Okay. Last thing that I have on here is the animations. Top tier best. Top tier best. I'm sorry. I like DW9's, animations with the fighting and all that, fighting styles or whatever, but this one has a beat. I'm sorry. It doesn't even come close. Like, the things that the NPCs, the allies and the enemies, they do, like, their animations look way more fluid. It's like, it looks like actual fighting style going on in here. Like, it's actual kung fu, actual martial arts, and all that stuff, all that good stuff. So yeah, DW9. Yeah, I'm sorry. DW Origins has, that DW9 beat million times over. I'm sorry. Now, that was about the last thing that I had on that list. So I think I pretty much covered everything. So with that being said, will I be buying Dynasty Warriors Origins? Obviously, yes. I have never been this excited for the game. Well, to be real with you, like, in the same week, bro, this is not the only game that I have been very excited for. It's one of the only few games that I have been excited for in the past week. And that's crazy, because all these years I've been playing games, okay? All these years I've been playing games, and for the past few years I've been uploading on YouTube. I've never been this excited for a game, not since Modern Warfare 2022. Now, I will talk about Modern Warfare 2022 in a different video, but I've been hyped about Dynasty Warriors Origins. I've been hyped about Marvel Rivals. I've been hyped about Naraka Blade Point and their collabs that they've been doing with bringing these characters from different universes and real life into the game. Say, for instance, they brought The Witcher in the game, and you can get his sword and his attire. And then with Dynasty Warrior Origins, that's gonna be out, and it's coming out in January. That's like a month from here. No, screw that. That's not even a month from here. That's a couple weeks from here. That's like 3 or 4 weeks from here. So yeah, I'm definitely getting the game, and I'm definitely gonna do a gameplay walkthrough on this. I don't care. But with that being said, that pretty much covers this video. I to be real with you, I even played the demo like back to back. It's not even a full game, and I just been playing it. I don't even care if I'm playing the same stage over and over and over again. I've even showed you the gameplay I had fighting, Lulu, and I'm just gonna do a separate video on that. So yeah, that pretty much covers this video. So I really appreciate you guys for tuning in to today's video. I really appreciate you guys for watching, getting the watch time. If you really enjoyed this, comment how you feel about the game. Comment if you're going to buy it. Comment if you're even part of the Dynasty Warriors community. If you like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, I'm gonna go get some sleep. It's getting late, so thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.